Welcome back to our channel.
Hello, listeners. The podcast where we break down the English language into easy-to-understand pieces. I'm Lisa.
And I'm Eric. Whether you're learning English as a second language or just brushing up on your skills, we're here to help you grasp English simply and effectively.
In each episode, we'll explore a new word, phrase, or common English expression, making sure you can understand and use them confidently in your daily conversations.
So, grab your notebooks and let's get started with today's words.
Okay, what are the words today, Eric?
The first word today is mad. Then we will continue with obvious and to offer, then to grow up. The final one is pull someone's leg.
Can you explain what mad means, Eric?
Mad is an adjective. When someone is mad, they are very angry. But in informal English, especially in American English, mad can also mean crazy or very enthusiastic about something.
That's right, Eric. For example, you can say, "Are you still mad at me?" Or, "Mark got really mad at Richard for not washing up."
Maybe you have noticed that if we use somebody after mad, we use at, like at me, or at Richard in your examples.
Yes, I have. But in this sentence, we don't have to use at because we won't use somebody after mad. For example, he was mad when he found out that someone hit his car.
Absolutely, Lisa. Mad means very angry in those sentences. But the meaning of mad in this sentence is different. She is mad about the new superhero movies. In this sentence, mad means she really loves them. She's very enthusiastic.
Yes, and it's important to note that when you use mad about, it usually means being enthusiastic. Now let's listen to a sample dialogue using the word mad.
Why is Kevin not coming to the cinema?
Oh, he's mad because he lost his phone today.
That's too bad. He's also mad about sci-fi movies. He'll miss a great one tonight.
Yes, he told me last week how excited he was for this movie.
In this dialogue, the first mad means Kevin is angry, and the second mad shows that he really likes sci-fi movies.
It's a good example of how versatile the word mad can be in English. Lisa, have you ever been mad about something?
Oh, absolutely. I was mad about ballet when I was younger. I used to dance every day after school. How about you, Eric?
I've definitely been mad in both senses. As a kid, I was mad about video games, and I was mad at my favorite team when they lost a match.
Oh, you use mad in two different meanings, Eric.
Yes, Lisa. In the first sentence, what I meant was that I liked video games very much. And in the second, I was very angry when my team lost.
It sounds like mad can describe a lot of our feelings and interests. Remember, listeners, mad can show strong emotions like anger or excitement.
That's right. And I think we have explained mad fair enough, Lisa.
Okay, Eric, let's move on to our next word. What's the next word?
The next word is obvious.
Obvious.
Obvious. Obvious is an adjective. When something is obvious, it means it's very clear or easy to understand or see.
If you say the answer is obvious, it means the answer is very easy to find or understand.
Another example is, it was obvious he didn't study for the test because he couldn't answer any questions. This means it was very clear he didn't study because of his wrong answers.
Those are good examples. You know, sometimes we use obviously as an adverb, like saying, "Obviously she's the best player on the team," meaning it's very clear she's the best. Or, "We obviously need more help," meaning it's very clear we need more help.
Useful examples, Lisa. Now, let's use obvious in a sample dialogue to understand it better.
Did you notice anything unusual about the suspect's behavior?
It was obvious that he was nervous. He was sweating and couldn't look us in the eye.
You're right. It's obvious he's hiding something. We need to investigate more.
That's a great example, Lisa. It shows how we can use obvious to describe something that is clear to understand.
Definitely. Hey, Eric, have you ever been in a situation where something was obvious to you, but not to others?
Yes, I have. When I was playing a video game with my friends, the solution to a puzzle was obvious to me, but they couldn't find it out. It took them a while to see what I saw.
That must have been frustrating for you. I've had similar experiences where I noticed something obvious but others didn't. Sometimes it can be hard to explain something.
Absolutely. It's like trying to describe the color blue to someone who has never seen it. It's just so obvious to you, but not to them.
That's a great analogy, Eric. Something might be obvious to one person, but it may not be obvious to another.
That's so true, Lisa. We all have different perspectives and experiences.
Well said, Eric. That's all for the word obvious. Let's continue with the next word.
The next word is to offer.
To offer.
To offer. It's a verb. When you offer something, it means you give or propose something to someone, which they can accept or refuse.
That's a helpful explanation, Eric. For example, you can say, she offered me a cup of tea. It means she proposed to give me a cup of tea and I could say yes or no.
Exactly, Lisa. And another example is, he offered to help me with my homework. This shows he proposed his help, which I could accept or not.
Great example. And notice, listeners, if you use a verb after offer, you should use the infinitive form, like in the second example where Eric used offer to help.
Now, let's look at a sample dialogue using the word offer.
Did you hear about the new job opening at the library?
Yes, I did. I'm thinking about applying.
That's great. I can offer to prepare your application before you send it.
That would be fantastic. Thanks for offering.
It is a useful dialogue. It shows how to use offer in a dialogue.
That's right, Lisa. Offering something can be a kind way to show support or friendship. Speaking of which, Lisa, have you ever offered something unusual or unexpected to someone?
Oh, yes. Once I offered to do a painting for my friend's class. I'm not a professional, but I wanted to help her space. What about you, Eric?
I once offered to cook dinner for my family. It was a surprise because I rarely cook, but it went well.
That sounds lovely, Eric. It shows how offering can also be a way to share new experiences with others. Remember, listeners, you can offer help, a gift, or even an experience, just like in our examples.
I think we have explained to offer fair enough. Let's move on to the next word. The next word is to grow up.
To grow up.
To grow up. It means to become older and more mature, both physically and mentally.
That's right, Eric. When you grow up, you change from being a child to an adult. For example, when I grow up, I want to be a teacher.
Here's another example. My parents always tell me to act more responsibly now because I'm growing up.
Sometimes people also use it to tell someone to act more maturely. Like saying, stop being silly and grow up.
Good examples, Lisa. Now, let's have a sample dialogue to show how we can use grow up in a conversation.
Look at you, Sarah. You've grown up so much since I last saw you.
Thanks, Grandpa. I'm not a little girl anymore. I'm growing up and learning new things every day.
I can see that. You're becoming a lovely young woman. Always remember, no matter how much you grow up, you'll always be my little girl.
What a sweet example, Eric. As we get older, our bodies and minds change. This example shows that grow up can be used to describe these changes.
Definitely, it's a process everyone experiences. Hey, Lisa, what did you want to be when you were growing up?
When I was growing up, I wanted to be a veterinarian because I loved animals. How about you, Eric?
I wanted to be an astronaut and explore space. Obviously, that didn't happen, but it was fun to dream about it as a child.
It's amazing how our dreams and wants change as we grow up. It's all part of the journey.
Absolutely. Growing up is not always easy, but it's a necessary part of life. We learn so much along the way.
That's so true, Eric. Well, that's all for the phrase to grow up. And it is time to explain our last word today. What is the last word today, Eric?
The last word is pull someone's leg.
Pull someone's leg.
Pull someone's leg. It's an idiom that means to joke with someone in a playful way. If you are trying to convince them that something is true as a joke, you can use the informal phrase pull someone's leg.
That's right, Eric. When you pull someone's leg, you're not being serious. You're just trying to make them believe something that isn't true, usually for fun. For example, don't believe him when he says he can speak 10 languages. He's just pulling your leg.
Here's another example. I told my little brother that the moon was made of cheese. I was just pulling his leg, but he believed me.
Great examples, Eric. It's important to remember that pull someone's leg is an idiom, so it doesn't literally mean to pull on someone's leg physically.
Thanks for clarifying that, Lisa. Now, let's have a sample dialogue to show how we can use pull someone's leg in a conversation.
Hey, Mary, did you hear that our boss is going to give everyone a huge raise?
Really? That's amazing.
No, I'm just pulling your leg, April Fools.
Oh, John, you really had me going there for a second. I should have known you were pulling my leg, especially on April Fool's Day.
That's a great example of how pull someone's leg can be used in a playful way, especially on a day like April Fool's Day.
Definitely. It's a fun way to joke around with friends and family. Hey, Lisa, has anyone ever pulled your leg?
Oh yes, my older sister used to pull my leg all the time when we were kids. She once convinced me that I could fly if I rode a carpet.
That's hilarious. Did you actually try it?
Yes, I did. But the carpet did not fly, but I learned not to believe everything my sister told me.
That's a good lesson. It's important to know when someone is pulling your leg and when they're serious.
Absolutely. It's all about understanding the context and the person's tone of voice.
Well said, Lisa. And that wraps up another episode of Simply Explained English. Thanks for joining us today. We hope you found our explanations helpful and clear.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode. We love helping you improve your English, one podcast at a time.
If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, please send them our way. We're here to help you learn.
Until next time, keep practicing, and remember, we're just an episode away if you need help understanding English simply and effectively.
Bye, everyone.
See you in the next podcast.
I am Eric.
And I am Lisa. Whether you're just starting your English journey or looking to enhance your language skills, you're in the right place.
We'll provide sample dialogues to show you how these words are used in everyday conversations, making learning English easy.
So, if you're ready to simplify your English learning experience, let's get started. Okay, Eric, what are the words today?
The first word today is whole. Then we will continue with to convince and to refuse. Then to get over. And the final one is to cut the chase.
Okay, let's start with our first word, Eric.
The first word is whole.
Whole.
Whole. It's an adjective that means all of something, the full amount, or all part of something.
That's right, Eric. For example, you can say, I ate the whole pizza by myself. This means you ate all parts of the pizza. Nothing was left.
Exactly, Lisa. Another example is, she spent the whole day reading her favorite book. This means she read all day, not just part of the day.
Good examples, Eric. Sometimes we also use whole with the to talk about something specific, like saying the whole city celebrated the festival. It means everybody in the city joined the celebration.
Now let's use whole in a sample dialogue to understand it better.
Did you manage to finish the project?
Yes, I worked the whole weekend on it. Now it's done.
The whole weekend? That sounds exhausting.
It was a bit tiring, but seeing the whole project completed was very rewarding.
This dialogue shows how the word whole describes the entire amount of time a person spends on an activity.
It really does, Lisa. Have you ever worked on something for the whole day, Lisa?
Yes, I have. Once, I spent the whole day organizing a charity event. It was a lot of work, but the result was good enough. What about you, Eric?
I've spent the whole night working on a painting before. When I'm focused on my art, time just flies.
That's true dedication. It's amazing that you can give your full attention to something you love so much.
Absolutely, Lisa. And for our listeners, remember that the word whole is used to describe something as complete. It's a simple word, but it adds a lot of meaning to our sentences.
Well said, Eric. We hope this explanation helps our listeners understand how to use whole properly.
I hope so, Lisa. Okay, the next word is to convince.
To convince.
To convince. It's a verb, and it means to make someone believe something or agree to do something by giving them good reasons.
That's right, Eric. We use it like to convince someone to do something or convince somebody that.
Exactly. Let's look at some examples. First, she managed to convince her boss to give her a day off. It means she gave her boss good reasons for a day off.
Here's another one. I tried to convince my brother that we should go to the new restaurant.
Good examples. Now, let's move to a sample dialogue. Imagine two friends, Tom and Jerry, talking in a park.
I'm not sure whether to join the music club or not. I don't really have much time.
But think about it. It's a great chance to meet new people and learn guitar.
That sounds interesting, but I'm still not convinced.
You'll also get to perform at the club events. Doesn't that sound exciting?
Okay, you've convinced me. Let's sign up together.
Great dialogue. Tom managed to convince Jerry by talking about the advantages of joining the club.
Yes, and he used the word convince effectively twice. Now, Eric, have you ever had to convince someone about something?
Oh, all the time. I had to convince my sister to watch the latest superhero movie with me. I told her all about the special effects and the exciting plot.
That sounds like a good strategy. When we want to convince someone, we usually explain the good points clearly.
Definitely. What about you, Lisa? Have you ever convinced someone recently?
Yes, I convinced my friend to start a fitness plan with me. I told her how it could improve our health and even our mood.
Those are some convincing reasons indeed. So, we can see how important it is to give good reasons when we want to convince someone.
Absolutely. And that's our word, to convince. Try using it when you need someone to believe you or agree with your ideas.
Okay, Lisa. I think we have explained convince fair enough. Let's move on to our next word. The next word is to refuse.
To refuse.
To refuse. It's a verb that means to say no to something or someone, not to accept something.
That's a good explanation. For example, you can say, he refused to go to the party because he was tired. This means he decided not to go because of his tiredness.
And another example is, she refused the offer to work on Sunday. This means she said no to the offer because maybe she has other plans or wants to rest.
Those are great examples. It's important to remember that to refuse is followed by to and the infinitive of another verb, like to refuse to go or to refuse to accept. Now, let's listen to a sample dialogue using to refuse.
Would you like to take on the new project? It's a great opportunity.
I appreciate it, but I have to refuse. I am already busy with current projects.
I understand, but don't forget, it's rare for such opportunities to come by.
I know that, but I must refuse to overwork. Perhaps in the future, I'll be more available.
This dialogue shows a respectful way of using to refuse in a professional setting. It's about knowing your limits and setting them.
Exactly, Eric. It's also about communication and making clear decisions. Have you ever had to refuse something because you were too busy, Eric?
Yes, I once had to refuse an invitation to a concert because I had an important meeting early the next day. What about you, Lisa?
I had to refuse to help organize a community event last month because I was moving to another place. It was tough, but sometimes, you have to choose.
It's not always easy, but sometimes we have to put ourselves first and refuse things that aren't good for us.
That's so true, Eric. The important point is to learn how to refuse things politely and firmly. For our listeners, remember that it's okay to refuse things sometimes, especially if they are not good for you or make you feel uncomfortable.
Well said, Lisa. To refuse is a powerful word that allows you to express your decisions clearly. We hope our listeners have understood what it means.
Agreed, Eric. Let's continue with the next word.
The next word is get over.
Get over.
Get over. It is a phrasal verb and has two meanings. First, it can mean to recover from something, like an illness or a difficult situation. Second, it can mean to overcome or fix a problem or a task.
So, for the first meaning, you could say, he finally got over his cold. That means he was sick, but now he is okay. The second meaning might be something like, she managed to overcome her fear of heights. She has a fear of heights, but now she does not.
Exactly, Lisa. Now, let's dive into a sample dialogue. Imagine two students, Lucy and Ben, talking on a college campus.
Ben, are you still upset about the game last night?
Yeah, I'm trying to get over it, but it's hard. We were so close to winning.
I know it's tough, but you'll get over this disappointment. There's always the next game.
You're right, Lucy. I need to focus on that.
In this dialogue, Ben uses get over to express his effort to recover from the disappointment of losing the game. It shows the first meaning.
That's a great example. Ben shows that getting over emotional challenges can take time. Now, Eric, have you had to get over something recently?
Actually, yes. I had to get over my fear of public speaking. I practiced a lot and gradually got over it.
That's impressive. It really shows how we can use get over to overcome problems or tasks. So you got rid of your fear, right?
Yes, Lisa. I don't have a fear of heights now. How about you? Have you had to get over anything lately?
Well, I recently got over the flu. It took a while, but I feel much better now.
It's good to hear you've recovered, whether it's illness or other problems. Get over means that you managed to get rid of past difficulties or illnesses.
Remember, get over can be used to talk about recovering from something or overcoming something.
Try to use it in both senses according to your needs. We hope you quickly get over any challenges you face.
Well said, Eric. Let's continue with our last word.
The last word is cut to the chase. It's a phrase that means to get to the point without wasting time on unnecessary details.
That's right, Eric. It's often used when someone wants to hear the main part of the story or the key information without delay.
Exactly, Lisa. For example, you might say, we don't have much time, so let's cut to the chase. We need to decide now.
And another example could be, I know you have a lot to tell me, but can you cut to the chase, please?
Great examples. Now let's move on to a sample dialogue. Imagine two colleagues, Tom and Sarah, in a business meeting.
So I've been thinking about how to improve our project and...
Jake, can you cut to the chase, please? What's your main idea?
Right, sorry. To cut to the chase, I think we should use solar power.
That's a great idea. Cutting to the chase really helps focus our discussion.
That was a perfect use of cut to the chase in a professional setting. Jake got directly to the important points.
Yes, it really shows how this phrase can be effective in saving time. Lisa, have you ever had to tell someone to cut to the chase?
Actually, yes. Just last week, my friend was telling me a long story, and I was running late, so I asked her to cut to the chase.
That makes sense. It's a useful phrase when you're short on time.
I often use it during meetings to keep discussions focused and efficient. It's useful in many situations.
It certainly is. And that's our phrase for today, cut to the chase. Use it when you need information quickly or when you want to focus on the most important points. Remember, it's a great way to communicate efficiently and respectfully. Okay, listeners, we have reached the end of our podcast today.
Thanks for tuning in to Simply Explained English. We hope you found today's episode helpful and easy to understand.
Remember to practice what you've learned and join us next time for more simple explanations to boost your English skills.
Until then, keep practicing and stay curious. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone. See you in the next episode.